Hi, folks, and welcome. I'm Taft from the ConejoValleyTimes.com, and this month our featured artist is Chris Dellorco from Westlake Village. Chris, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me, Taft. I appreciate it.
You're quite welcome. So, Chris, you're a painter. Tell us a little bit about your background and also the medium you work in and just generally your style.
Sure. Well, I actually started as an advertising artist, not a fine artist, which is what I do now. Got into advertising art in the 80s, believe it or not, and I was doing a lot of movie posters. I did some of the big ones like Coming to America, Conan, Revenge of the Nerds, and a number of others. It was good business, and then I kind of switched over to doing some Disney work, not the animation, but rather the print advertising stuff, and I started doing a lot of their video covers, always working conventionally with airbrush. Then I actually got into starting to do digital work, one of the early rounds of Photoshop, and so I was probably the last of the illustrators that worked conventionally and the first to work in a digital format, and I got very proficient at that. And finally, as my career progressed and I was very successful at it, I wanted to get back to painting. I'd done digital work for long enough and switched back into gallery work. And now it's a very conventional technique. I pretty much photograph my models. I don't usually use live models, but I photograph them. I use the photographs as reference for my paintings, and then I paint, it's oil paint on canvas like they've been doing for the last 400 years.
And now, do you have any new approaches? Is there anything that you're looking to move into that you haven't been doing, or are you going to change anything that you have been doing in the past? What lays in front of us?
Well, the nice thing about being a creative person is you're always looking ahead. You're never happy with where you've been. So recently, I had been photographing models in my studio, and often I worked with dancers. And one of the things I was really looking for is to try to get the dancers off the ground and weightless. And even with a dancer, there's only so much they can do. So I started actually photographing the women underwater. And I got some amazing results. Even this painting just to my left, your right, the woman was actually photographed underwater. And that's where she can have that weightless appearance of looking like she's above water. I had so much success with the photographs that I had shot underwater. There were too many for me to even paint. So I also am going into some fine art photography, which is what's on my right. That woman was also photographed underwater, and the results have just been really spectacular. I use fabric, and it's an exciting new venture that I'm going into.
Yeah, it looks really, really cool. And you do a lot of local art shows, too. We've seen you around. Are you going to be, I know Malibu has one coming up this summer, don't they?
Right. They haven't set a deadline or a date yet because they lost their space for the date they normally do, so I haven't heard yet. I just recently did the Calabasas Art Show, and despite a little bit of rain and wind, I actually had a pretty successful show. Every year I do the Beverly Hills Art Show, which is a great show. I do one in La Quinta, and I'm doing one up in Sausalito.
Okay, great.
Coming up.
And so where can people find you online?
Well, you want to find me at my website, which is DellorcoFineArt.com, and that's DELLORCO, fineart.com.
And Chris, thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me, Taft. I appreciate it.